In a matter of a few days, India will have its next Prime Minister as 18 general elections are all set to conclude on the 4th June. As the elections move on to the 5th and 6th phase of the voting, the on-ground notion about who will be forming the next government is pretty unanimous. इसको support करते हो?
Support तो मैं भाई केजरीवाल जी को करता हूँ।
जी मैं तो मोदी जी को ही सपोर्ट करती हूँ।
ये मोदी जीतेगा और कौन जीतेगा? आम पार्टी के।
अच्छा।
जो मोदी ने करा वो किसी ने कर ही नहीं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been in power for over a decade now. His policies such as PM Yojana, PM Awas Yojana, PM Ujwala Yojana has created a lot of buzz for him. In the middle of this is Digital India initiative, which took off massively during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, more than 60% of the digital payments are done by UPI in India. In 2014, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi took oath in the parliament, he promised acche din or good days to Indian public, which came as a breath of fresh air to Indian voters who were struggling with issues such as unemployment, inflation, along with major scams that Congress was accused of during its tenure.
There is, however, a dark underbelly to this almost fairy tale-like story. In the last 10 years, although the Modi government did receive praise for various development projects across the nation, they have also received major flack in many avenues. Issues such as high rate of unemployment, poverty, taxation, education, healthcare, and even communal disharmony. The race to the finish line is almost here. While the country decides whom to hand over the reins for the next 5 years, let us try and understand why this election is so important for the country and what it really means.
In the heart of the world's largest democracy, the stage has been set for a monumental showdown. With nearly 970 million registered voters, the world's most populous country has over 2,500 political parties across India, but a mere 10 of them currently hold 86% of seats in the Lok Sabha. General elections in India are being held from 19 April to 1 June 2024 in 7 phases to elect 543 members of the Lok Sabha. The results will be declared on June 4th, 2024. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeks a rare third term, his party currently facing criticism over its governance records amidst concerns over several issues. On the opposite end is Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance, India, comprising of about 26 opposition parties led by Rahul Gandhi's Indian National Congress, which once dominated country's politics.
As India is witnessing fancy speeches from political parties and their leaders across the arena, and communal polarization, millions of Indians continue to grapple with poverty, unemployment, and fluctuating inflation. For them, the promise of change often remains elusive.
Few challenges I think which impact the system is that our education system I think is old and redundant and is unable to train students to provide them appropriate skills which are required by the job market.
Finding a job has become a major task for several Indians, even after they complete their education. BJP's 2014 manifesto listed employment or job creation as a high priority task, and for this they marked infra, manufacturing and housing as major sectors which they thought had huge potential to help them reach that target. Fast forward to 2024 and that picture is not the way BJP portrayed it to be. India's unemployment rate reached to over 6% in the 2017 and 18 period, the highest it had been in the last 45 years.
और पढ़ने लिखने में जो हमने सब कुछ कर दिया, नौकरी काहेगी ना लगी अभी तक.
The Periodic Labour Force Service further stated that during the April-June phase of 2020, this number reached to over 20%, eventually coming down to just over 3% in the 2022 to 2023 phase. As per the International Labour Organization, in 2022, India's youth accounted for 83% of the country's total unemployed population. Now that is a huge number. However, according to the government's Periodic Labour Force Survey, the unemployment rate in urban areas of persons above the age of 15 has decreased to 6.7% from January to March 2024. Not only this, the labour force participation rate or the LFPR in urban areas has shown an increasing trend from 48.5% to 50.2%. In the same period, the female LFPR in urban areas has increased from 22.7% to 25.6%. The survey also highlights an increasing trend in the worker population for persons above the age of 15. The number has increased to 46.9% from 45.2%. The female workforce population ratio in urban areas has also increased from 20.6% to 23.4% during the period of the survey. The numbers from these surveys tell a very interesting story. But we want to find out the situation on the ground from people who are actually facing the issues on a daily basis. Let's find out what they have to say.
अब महंगाई की वजह से तो बहुत सी प्रॉब्लम आती है, दाल तेल आटा सब कुछ महंगा ही है।
दिक्कत परेशानी ये है, महंगाई इतनी है, पेट्रोल डीजल पे बहुत महंगाई है यहाँ। अगर कुछ सामान लेने जाओ 10 रुपये का सामान आ रहा है तो 20 का पेट्रोल भरवाना पड़ता है।
तो और क्या चीज़ है, महंगाई है खुद है।
अभी महंगाई तो करी रखी है बीजेपी सरकार ने, और क्या करा जाए हैं?
और इतनी महंगाई तो इतनी हो गई है बहुत ज़्यादा।
महंगाई आज सिलेंडर को देखो आप, 400 रुपये का क्या कह रहे हैं 70 साल में हुआ, लेकिन 14 साल में 1100 रुपये का सिलेंडर।
In the last general elections, promises were made, hopes were raised, but for many young Indians, including farmers, those promises have yet to materialize. Talking about BJP's slogan of doubling farmers' income in 2019 elections, BJP manifesto promised a 25 lakh crore investment in the agriculture sector. It stated, and I'm quoting, "We are committed to investing rupees 25 lakh crore to improve the productivity of the farm sector." Talking about interest-free Kisan credit card loans, it stated, and again I'm quoting, "We will provide short-term new agriculture loans up to 1 lakh at 0% interest rate for 1 to 5 years on condition of prompt repayment of the principal amount."
The ground reality, however, tells us a different story. Let's take a stroll back in 2020 when the first wave of farmers' protests began. These protests were led by Rakesh Tikait, Balbir Singh Rajewal and Ruldu Singh Mansa and their parties, and they challenged the 3 farm laws implemented by the BJP government. You see, the problem was grave. India is largely self-sufficient when it comes to food grain production, but it has major issues when it comes to hunger, food security and nutrition. A very important thing to note is that India ranks 68th in the Global Food Security Index. Soon after the laws were implemented, protests began in Punjab and then eventually in Haryana. Eventually, these protesters started marching towards the capital. As a result, the centre ordered law enforcement to stop the protesters from marching into the capital.
Eventually, on 19 November 2021, the Union government decided to repeal the bills. On 29 November, both houses of parliament passed the Farm Laws Repeal Bill. After the repeal, Farmers Union continued with the demand for guaranteed minimum support prices, reminding the government of its aim of doubling the farmers' income by 2022.
Due to unfulfilled promises, farmers' protests once again began in February 2024. Among other things, their primary demand was a legally guaranteed minimum support price for their crops. Farmers gathered to protest at Shambhu and Kanori borders on February 13th to press the government to agree to a minimum support price for their crops. Wednesday, 22nd May, marked 100 days of the second wave of the Delhi Chalo movement. All that being said, on 23rd May, PM Modi started his polling rally in Punjab to contest for the state's 13 seats.
In 2014, the Bharatiya Janata Party promoted Prime Minister Narendra Modi as economic reformer who would end poverty and help India's middle class. However, as the Prime Minister Modi seeks a rare third term, income inequalities between poor and rich has widened drastically. By World Inequality Lab revealed that India's income and wealth inequalities between rich and poor has widened and have become worst among the world. Indian think tank Niti Aayog, in collaboration with UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, prepared the National Multidimensional Poverty Index, or MPI, that offered a multidimensional perspective on poverty in India. It complemented income poverty measurements because it measured and compared deprivations directly. In 2023, India was ranked 111 out of 125 countries in Global Hunger Index. The Indian government, however, rejected the report for its flawed methodology. Last year, the government extended Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana to provide free ration to over 80 crore people. However, the Congress slammed the government and stated that if the poverty has declined, why there is a need to provide free ration to such a massive population.
As the world's largest democracy goes into polls to form a new government, the rhetoric surrounding religion politics and communalism has once again, unfortunately, taken center stage.
और पहले जब उनकी सरकार थी, उन्होंने कहा था कि देश की संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। इसका मतलब ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे।
During one of the rallies in Madhya Pradesh, Prime Minister Modi told the voters that they have to choose wisely between vote jihad and Ram Rajya. Speaking to his voters in Gujarat, he introduced another electoral theme that the opposition party was collaborating with Muslim voters to take over the country. It honestly makes you wonder that despite there being more pressing issues like income disparity, poverty, hunger, farmers' protests, various regions in the country that are facing communal violence at the moment, India's political leaders are choosing to speak upon topics that add no value to the lives of the common man.
ये कांग्रेस का मैनिफेस्टो कह रहा है, मुस्लिम लीग की छाप है। सपा कांग्रेस वाले सरकार में आए तो रामलला को फिर से टेंट में भेजेंगे और मंदिर पर बुलडोजर चलवा देंगे।
PM Modi emphasized his commitment to secularism and democracy. However, his political rallies and election campaigns have been accused of inciting polarization. His controversial policies such as CAA and NRC was criticized globally.
It goes without saying that whichever government comes to power, that government will play a very important role in India's growth story going forward. At BW, the purpose of this video was bring you some insight of how people are thinking, how actual people who go to work every day, who deal with everyday's struggles, feel, and what they have in mind, what they want to say, and just to give you an idea of how important this election is, and at the same time give you a little flashback of what the last 5 to 10 years were like. While there are people in the country who are raising their voices and are demanding change, there are people who are confident in the incumbent government's ability to lead the country in the next 5 years to a more Vikasit future. As all eyes are on the election results and it is yet to be seen that which party forms the government, it will be interesting to see how the next few weeks play out. If the BJP wins and forms the government once again, will the promises they made be fulfilled, or will the dream of Acche Din remain a distant memory? I think we will find out soon enough. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you like the video, do share, like and subscribe. And for more such content, keep following BW TV and keep watching BW Business World.